a clipping of Coon Road, and there was, it says, Al Brummagem wins Coon Road Speedway. And then it said mechanics race. And the winner was a guy named Clarence Howser. Is that you?
I'm the guy, yes. As soon as Sulphur Springs opened, and that was my cousin Ted, me, and a guy named Duke Balsano, and we called our car the Big Three. And that's where we started, down at Sulphur Springs first, and then Mr. I forget his name now, started Coon Road.
Swartout,
right, yeah. And then Dunkirk had one down on Route 5 there. And
Arkwright had one.
Yeah. Erie had two, I guess.
And there was one in Jamestown, too.
Well, that's been Jamestown Speedway. And, that was one of the nicer tracks around. But we started out with a 36 Ford Coupe. And we had that all for quite a few years. We raced it, or whatever, quite a few more, 5 or 6, you know. And then the Sherman boys didn't like us going over there winning. And Ted was driving at that time, and somehow they put him in a spin and flipped him. He went rolling down the track, and then we changed cars. We got a Deuce Coupe, ran that for a while, then he had a chance to go for later models. They got a 55 Ford, that's what it was. And it started just sort of slowing down around here, then all those tracks. Later on, we bought a Ford and went to State Line, and I think we only put it on the track once because then I got it all smashed up. It was a muddy track, and I was driving at that time when we went down. When they dropped the green flag, it seemed like two lines. One went out on the outside, one went on the inside, and I started up through the middle. And one car started sliding broadside in front of me, and I had to stop, and then everybody else piled.
Oh, gosh.
It's the last we ran that one. Actually, it was kind of a different track, you know. It's like on a hill, you know, and it's graded. And I tell you, one of the funny guys, it wasn't funny guy, I don't know, Kenny Round. He ran every week, and he'd flip it. If he didn't make any money, he flipped it, and they gave us $5 back for entry fee.
Oh, was that right?
Yeah.
Where would he flip it on the track?
Well, he found a place to do it, usually in the consolation race, if he hadn't qualified for the feature.
1 and 1/8.
1 and 1/8, huh?
And then my younger brother used to I'd get to, be gonna be losing, so he'd say, roll her over, Lee, so I'd get $25 for rolling over.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so I made more money rolling over than I ever did winning.
Was that kind of between races or during the race?
During the race.
So really, it was a bonus for rolling over?
That's
Wow.
what they paid, $25.
Oh, wow.
I remember one time my brother Kenny had a Chevy coupe, and I rolled it over and had the starter on the floor, you know, with the rubber.
Yeah.
I hit that just right with my foot and knocked the starter right off the thing.
Oh my gosh.
We run the weekend and spend all week long fixing the car back up.
So what was the technique to try to get it to roll over?
You know, it was pretty easy then. I remember a friend of mine, I had a 46 Ford. It was an old police car. I bought off a junkie, and I think I ended up having about 13 or 14 shocks on upside down shocks. And the keep on the outside to keep from leaning when you went around the corner. But I never won much of anything. We just had a lot of fun.
Well, you won $25. That's a pretty big deal.
It was then.
Jim Howser, is that?
That was my uncle.
That was your uncle.
Yeah.
So it was. I saw in this one article there was Jim Howser,
He was a good driver.
Ted Howser, Clarence Howser.
Who the announcer was up at Coon Road?
Matthews, Dick Matthews.
Dick Matthews.
What?
Did you have some success there at Coon Road?
No.
I don't really remember.
I mean, I used to qualify for the races, the feature all the time, but no, to get any, I don't ever remember getting a feature.
Was there any money to be had in a normal race card? You know, you had to.
Well, I couldn't even hardly call it beer money, you know. But
What did the feature pay?
well, it depends on the crowd. They'd after the owner got his cut, then they just had to break that down into 4 different races, and they had 3 qualifying races, and then they had the semifinal, and then had the final. Yeah, actually, it was just something to do. In fact, when we got going at Sulphur Springs there, that we took the family with us.
Yeah.
The kids went out and played in the mud, and we had our sandwiches and stuff right there in the afternoon. Well, my cousin Ted was with this guy, Alan Stanley. I don't know if you ever knew.
I've heard the name. Yeah.
He was, he had bought a 56 Pontiac, I think it was. It had a 55 Chevy first, but I had my 55 Chevy. And there used to be a truck stop down there in Rocky. They called it Groen's Truck Stop. We went down there for coffee. And so we got coffee and headed for the car, and I knew right away what was going to happen. You know, he took off and I took half. And my cousin told me afterwards. He says he's right on your back bumper. He says, "What the hell's the matter with this car?" You know, and
This is Ted.
Dad was, but it was Stanley driving.
Okay.
His car. I think he had the 56 Chevy, and but I was right, and I just took my eyes off the road for a second, looked up, I was sliding down the road sideways. Nuts, headed for a car, another car went up. I whipped it to the right, and that's the last I knew till they come and pick me up and take me to the hospital.
Oh gosh.
But the day before, or the week before, the state troopers taught me going into Portland. He said, well, I wanted to see what it would do. I was going down to Dunkirk to go work. And it's on an afternoon shift. So we come, I don't know, you know where they call Coon Hall?
Yeah.
I come up out of that, and I said, I'll tell you what this will do by the time I get to Portland. I glanced down just as it started to enter, and it's bobbing between 100 and 105.
Oh, really?
Looked up, a state trooper sitting there. And I started braking it. He came up behind me, kept blowing his horn, I wouldn't pull over, and finally let loose the side. And I pulled over. He says, "Where in the hell are you going?" I said, "We're going to work." He said, "How fast are you going?" I said, 50. He says, 50, hell, you were doing at least 60. But I said, well, kind of late for work, which I wasn't. He says, well, don't be too goddamn late because I'm going to be right behind you. Those were his words. Then that was about my wreck there on 5. He came when I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital 2 days, I guess. I only had a dislocated shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, looked at me and he talked to me. He said, how fast were you going down there? I said, 50. He looked at me and said, didn't I stop you last week? I said, I don't think so. Well, maybe. But that's how it ended. But the car, where it started sliding, I got thrown out. Whenever he asked me about how fast it was going, I said 50. He said, 50, hell. He said, where that car started sliding was 1,200 feet where they picked it up.
Mm.
I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. But I do thank the good Lord I wasn't hurt any worse than that.
Yeah, exactly.
But there wasn't a good part left on it. Wasn't, not one. I am looking at it, from what I've been through, the good Lord sent me some awful good guardian angels.
Would you do it again?
Oh, I'd love to do it again. I enjoyed it, and our free time was working on the car and going out on Sunday morning and Saturday night, and then working on it again next week. But everybody enjoyed that.